Where in the Folk is not and should not be viewed as a news source. Any names, places, or likenesses mentioned are purely fictional, and any information discussed is purely speculative. Guest opinions are their own and do not reflect those of anyone else. Where in the Folk is not responsible for content accuracy of any stories that are told or what people do with these stories. This show is vulgar, sometimes graphic, and due to its content, it should not be viewed by anyone actually.
Welcome to another episode of Where in the Folk.
Don't ask me about it, dude. I don't know.
That's all good. I hope you guys had a good day today.
You said what?
I hope you all had a good day today.
It was okay. Did you get any tornadoes?
No. We so far, and I've got the weather pulled up just to make sure. So far, it's just rain. Just rain.
Yeah, it's just rainy here too.
Yep. So, some conspiracy theories sound too wild to be believed until they turn out to be true, which is happening more often than not anymore, ain't it, guys?
Yeah.
And others remain a mystery, still shrouded in mystery. Today, we're diving into both. From government cover-ups to shadowy experiments, we're covering the conspiracy theories that history has confirmed and the ones that remain in the realm of speculation. So, how do you guys want to get started?
Let's jump off the high dive, man.
Yeah.
I want to start off with a fun one. Now, did you ever hear about alien evidence being covered up in the American Southwest in the desert, being buried?
Yeah.
This is fun. For decades, rumors persist that alien artifacts were buried somewhere in the American Southwest. Now, this turned out to be true. It's in the 1980s. The video game company Atari produced copies of their game E.T. You ever hear about this? And it was one of the biggest commercial failures in history. The game sucked. Instead of storing it and destroying them through conventional means, they just decided to bury all the cartridges in the landfill in the New Mexico desert. That was a conspiracy for a while, but it turned out to be true. We'll start off a little easy,
Yeah.
Why would they do that?
Yeah. So if anybody has a copy of that, then it may be worth quite a bit since they destroyed.
Yeah, somebody found it and they dug through it and there were sealed copies there. The game was such a flop that they just just get rid of it, and they buried it in the desert.
Wow,
mm-hmm.
That's pretty crazy.
Yep,
I've heard a lot of large corporations. There's a lot of corporate waste in America.
But I thought that was a fun one because I like playing video games. I kind of remember the ET game though. It might be like a it might be like a false memory, but I remember playing it when I was a little kid. Apparently I didn't. Got a spam.
Is it somebody on?
No, it's a spam call. I like that your phone tells you now. It's like, hey, this is spam.
Yeah, we should say that if anybody wants to call in the knot with any conspiracies or stories, paranormal, whatever, the number is
it's like right down here.
Yeah, Cecil can point to it better.
Yeah.
So call in live if you have any crazy stories.
But what do you guys have? I've got a bunch right here, but they're all quick hits.
Let's roll with what you got, man. It's
these are all the ones I brought are all like things that's been proven true.
Yeah.
There's a video that would kind of go with what you were just talking about. There's one, the very first video is called Garbage Mountain.
Garbage Mountain.
And it's the world's largest mountain of garbage, and it is absolutely mind-boggling that this thing even exists.
It's not like a screenshot from Idiocracy or anything, is it?
It is not from Idiocracy, but it legit looks like it.
All right, let's take a look at it. Can you hear it?
I don't think that's it.
This is 100% it. Or maybe that's it. Can you
Yeah.
hear it?
No.
Oh my God.
Here,
But,
let me see if I can do videos tonight. I'll see if it'll play for me.
all I did was not share audio. There we go. Here we go.
Garbage mountain of Delhi, a monstrosity, an eyesore, but more than that, it is a source of death, decay, disease, and pollution for hundreds of thousands of people living in its shadows. Feasted upon by birds, flies, vermin, and cattle, this trash mountain is more than 200 feet high and covers an area of 70 acres. That's over 50 football pitches. Often this 20-story slope of waste catches fire in toxic blazes that last for days, especially during the summer season, or sometimes collapses, crushing people. Delhi generates 11,000 tons of waste, which is dumped in its 3 landfills, this one being the largest. For miles around, you can smell the putrid air and feel the noxious taste in your mouth and throat. For decades, successive governments promised to reduce this mountain by incinerating the trash safely in state-of-the-art plants, turning waste into electricity, but they have failed miserably. Satellite data reveals this site is a hotspot for emissions of methane, a potent greenhouse gas that traps heat and carbon dioxide. The decomposed fluids drain into the earth, contaminating the ground and surface water, while particulate matter adds to the air pollution of the capital that is severely grappling with the problem. Though the true menace of its effects is largely invisible, citizens pay the highest price for government apathy, corruption, and inaction. Residents complain of breathing problems, heart ailment, and other diseases. A doctor who has been practicing for 14 years here told us this is a slow poisoning of its people.
Wow.
What do you think about that?
But your car is the reason that we need these carbon taxes.
Yeah, cows are the problem.
Yeah, I mean, even if they were going to incinerate that, it's such a bad problem now. Like, they'd have to stop using it. Right? Am I wrong? Like,
you would think so. I've seen some of these landfills where they've actually put in some piping to capture the methane gas that's produced by these large garbage piles. So,
well, yeah, they said they measured that one, and it is not good.
well,
Yeah.
I mean, there's one country that uses trash as an energy. Is it Switzerland?
I'm not sure, honestly. I don't know that Switzerland. I feel like Switzerland has been getting more and more volatile here over the last year or two, from what I've heard.
Yeah. There's one country that actually imports like garbage from other countries because they have so little garbage to Sweden. Yeah.
Sweden.
Yeah. Sweden's non-recycled waste is burned to generate electricity and heat. Its method, while emitting CO2, is far better for the climate than sending garbage to landfills. So why don't they do that? I mean,
Shelby, we really need to do like a whole episode on that. Like, that would take a whole show for sure.
9/11.
Yeah.
9/11, baby.
You'd have to do that. We'd get a copyright infringement because I would demand that the opening would be the Alan Jackson parody from South Park when he goes 9/11, 9/11. 9/11.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot wrong with 9/11. But one thing that we talked about a lot. So there was a spinoff show of the X-Files called The Lone Gunman, and their pilot episode was filmed in like 1999. And the premise of that pilot episode was that someone had invented technology to remote control in and remote fly full-size 747s. And their conspiracy was that they were going to hijack unpiloted 747s and fly them into the World Trade Centers. So,
yeah,
take that for what you will. Just a coincidence.
Yeah. Don't you just love that word?
That is one of my favorites.
Yeah, that thermite was reported to have been found, and half a car would be burned. And, yeah, there are a lot of anomalies, and some people became very, very wealthy.
But
My
yeah,
my favorite thing from 9/11 is when that guy was talking, and he was talking about it later. I forget who it was, but he's like, I just told him to pull it. Talking about Tower 7 and pull it. Like, how can you not be more? Even somebody that's not in the demolition world knows what pull it means. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. One of the greatest. I don't know. The thing that's always stuck out to me on that right there is that they reported that building number 7 had collapsed like 30 minutes before it actually did collapse on Sky News or BBC News or something like that. So
I remember that.
she definitely was, by the way. Marilyn Monroe was murdered because she knew too much. I agree.
Yeah.
But I mean, that it's crazy. Like, and one thing about it that I wanted to do the ones that turned out to be true, just so that we can back up, the crazy stuff we talk about a little bit.
Yeah.
And what's really crazy is day by day, other conspiracy theories that we've talked about for years are coming true.
Yeah.
Like it's almost getting too hard to keep up with them at this point. Let's see. We could go with a classic. Let's see.
What's the classic?
I mean, I got a few. And these are literally short ones. Let's see. The Gulf of Tonkin. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good one. Hit
Yeah.
that one.
It's really short. It's a paragraph. The Gulf of Tonkin. Yeah, the Gulf Tonkin is the 1964. You messed me up. Justification for escalating us into the war with Vietnam, which that would end up being a horrific war, and this is what got it started. Basically, the U.S. government claimed that the North Vietnamese forces attacked a Navy vessel on 2 separate occasions. However, later declassified documents and first-hand accounts realized that the second attack, which escalated us into the war, never actually happened, and it was fabricated to gain support for the war.
It's funny how that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. I believe something similar took place in Cuba.
Yep. And that would be the Bay of Pigs, right?
Well, the Bay of Pigs was that was the one that they wanted Kennedy to sign off on, and he refused to, which just adds to the list of why people wanted to unalive that president.
Yeah, and
it was the
go ahead. Northwoods?
That was Operation Northwoods. Operation Northwoods, Bay of Pigs, the other one. Oh my goodness. That bothers me that escapes on my mind at the moment. It was the same play, and I think maybe it was that. Anyway, it's I'm sorry. I may be getting a couple of different things confused here. Because I'm also thinking of Teddy Roosevelt and the Rough Riders.
Oh yeah.
It's so.
I mean, when during that period of Kennedy, like Operation Northwoods was one that they proposed to do.
Yes.
Which was friggin' insane.
Yes.
It was nuts. It was a shocking revelation whenever it was found out.
Yeah.
Declassified documents proved that the U.S. military proposed to do a false flag attacks on American citizens to justify military action against Cuba.
Yep.
This was something they wanted to do. These plans included staging terror attacks, hijacking planes, and sinking boats. And then they're going to say, hey, Cuba did that.
Yeah.
And that was something they wanted to do, and John F. Kennedy kind of stopped it.
Yes, he did. So that was that was another reason why he didn't need to be there. Also the Vietnam War thing was another thing he didn't get involved with.
Yeah, he was doing a lot that people the deep didn't like.
Yeah, and another thing that he did, just to add to the list of things that Kennedy may have done that made him unpopular among powerful people was, if you search for it, there actually were a few silverback dollars printed that were not federal dollars during Kennedy's presidency.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know that I knew that.
Okay. Yeah.
Hey, Landa.
Hey, Linda. It may not be the easiest thing to find, but yeah, there were some printed. It would have been stepping away from the Federal Reserve.
Yeah, he didn't want the Federal Reserve.
Who
No,
does?
Thomas Jefferson didn't either. Neither did Abraham Lincoln, I don't believe, if I'm correct on that.
Well, the trip on the Titanic kind of fixed that, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Alan, that's why a lot of people think that Jim Morrison wasn't really deceased because his dad was into some stuff.
Nice.
No, which one?
Jim Morrison's dad was on one of those Navy ships that we were just talking about.
Oh, yeah.
And
yeah.
You'll find that with a lot of famous musicians, and a lot of famous actors will sometimes have parents who are in the deep state.
Yeah.
Yeah, right here in the 60s, silverback dollars, specifically silver certificates, became a topic of interest. People could exchange these certificates for silver coins and silver dollars and silver coins.
Yes. Because at that time, an American dollar was worth the same as a silver dollar.
Yeah.
So you could just go to the bank and exchange this paper money for a silver coin. That'd be worth $1. You know, whether it would have.
I'm trying to zoom in on these examples here, but it's not letting me. Sorry.
And then we had a president who came in after Nixon who took us off the gold standard. And
yeah.
Or no, that's a Johnson. After Johnson, I'm sorry, I need to correct myself there. Nixon was the one who took us off the gold standard. You know, so.
It all went downhill with the Titanic.
Yeah. There were people, and that's an interesting one that I don't even have down. That's one that's not proven true, I guess. Is the people that were on the Titanic that opposed the Federal Reserve.
It was all of the billionaires that were powerful enough for opposition.
Yeah. It's the Astor. Astor was on there. Strauss. Was it Guggenheim? Was he the other very? And all three of these very wealthy families, they opposed the Federal Reserve, and it just so happened that they all perished on the maiden voyage of the Titanic. So,
yep. Plus the insurance policy on the Titanic, all that stuff, very similar to the 9/11 stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Shelby says that she thinks Tupac's still alive.
Oh, he is for sure.
Some people believe that.
How old would Tupac be now, though?
In his mid-50s.
Yeah,
that's all.
He's old enough to have gray hair.
I feel like Tupac would be like 80 years old. Maybe I'm tripping.
No, he wouldn't be that old.
He was 29, I think, when he passed away in 1997.
Yeah.
He'd be 53 years old. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's not too bad. He's probably still alive then.
Oh, yeah. He's out there gangstering up. If you believe he was a gangster.
well, I think we showed last week that he was not, in fact, a gangster. But he was a ballerina.
The whole thing about the Titanic thing is, it was Benjamin Guggenheim, Isidor Straus, and Jacob Astor. And these all three of them made it, but there were other billionaires that were scheduled to be on the Titanic.
JP young. That's young, Landa.
Yes. Yes, it is, Landa. Yes.
And I'm only 14 years away from it. But
your pup.
Yeah, but JP Morgan was supposed to be on there too, along with a couple others. I can't remember their names.
Yeah.
But he Seth MacFarlane, he just happened to not make the trip. this particular time. It's amazing how like people that don't make the trip that are kind of already connected
Mhm.
after tragedy become insanely wealthy.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. Funny how that happens.
Well,
It is
and it's what's even stranger is the people that was in that submersible that was trying to dive on the Titanic. There were people related to people that died on the Titanic in the submersible,
yeah.
which is crazy. And apparently, there's like treasures that have never been excavated from there too.
I'm glad you can't say that word. Thank you. Finally found a word you can't say right. Excavated. I'm just
Well,
messing with you.
if it's not excavated, let's hear you pronounce it.
Excavated.
That's what I just said.
I'm just messing with you.
No, but please, by all means, we're here for Cecil's grammar lessons today. If you want to hear Cecil say words, please call in.
That
Yeah.
would be a good idea. I can't pronounce a lot of things, like roads. But no, what kind of treasure would be down there, though? I mean, the only thing that could be down there I could think of would be like money.
Yeah, I'm sure on a ship like that, you know, you would think that there would have been something similar to a bank vault, and maybe people would have put valuable jewelry, money, things like that in the bank vault or in whatever kind of safe or vault they would have had on the ship.
My one question about is, what about the thing that bacteria that's eating the ship? Is it going to eat everything?
You would think that sooner or later it will. I mean, the oceans are actually very, very, very good at cleaning up our waste, if you want to put it that way. It's, you know, look at all the whenever the oil rig exploded down there in the Gulf. Remember what an environmental disaster everyone thought it was going to be, and have you heard anything about it?
No.
Yeah.
That's what happened to the oil. You think it just?
I think the ocean basically just takes care of it, you know. And I could be proven wrong by I guess anybody, but I believe that's what takes place, you know. But that's what was that? The movie they made a movie about was it Event Horizon, I believe is the movie that they made about.
Watched it.
Yeah,
that's one movie I've never watched.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever watched it?
I did.
Tully, have you ever watched it?
What's that?
Event Horizon.
I think so.
I need to watch it.
I mean, it's a pretty good movie. You know, it'd be terrifying to be to me it'd be terrifying to go out on the oil rig.
Yeah, that's true. Let's see. Operation Paperclip. That's one that will end up being real.
Yeah, it turned out to be very, very true. Yeah.
You want to talk about it?
Sure. Yeah. We had what was it? Basically between the U.S. and Russia, we were having a contest where we were bragging that our German scientists are smarter than your German scientists.
Exactly.
It's to sum it up.
So following World War II, basically what happened in this one, these are all quick hits too. The U.S. secretly recruited 1,600 Nazi scientists and engineers, many of whom had direct ties to war crimes. One of the most well-known is Wernher von Braun, who created Never a Straight Answer, which is the space program, and that led to the Apollo moon landings. While it did help us gain technology and everything, it's kind of crazy that we would take in war criminals after that. But just goes to show that if you have something to offer, they'll kind of forgive anything, won't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will. And the hold on a minute. The really interesting thing that Wernher von Braun had written on his tombstone. let me read this off so I don't misquote it.
What was it? Psalms 111?
Psalm 19:1. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament Showeth his handiwork.
Yeah. What do you think of that?
From the guy who invented never a straight answer.
Never a straight answer.
Yeah. What do you make of that? Why would he leave something like that?
I don't know. I really don't know, because I mean, that's a very specific one to pick. Wouldn't you agree? Like,
Yes.
I mean, like, that's pretty specific. Like, where did that? Do you think that was something that maybe he, like, to play devil's advocate? So maybe it was a verse he heard when he was a kid, and he's like, I bet I could break the firmament or something. You know what I mean? Like,
it kind of makes you wonder, because back during that time, they were. My understanding of it is whenever we first began testing the atomic weapons, part of those, they were detonating those very high up in our atmosphere, seeing if they could catch everything on fire up there.
That would have been fun.
Yeah. Could you just imagine? Can you just imagine our thin layer that protects on fire?
I'm not about it.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Any of these videos you want to go to?
Well, it's totally up to you. I don't know that there's anything like immediately that would be relevant to NASA.
No, we can move past that one.
Yeah.
These are quick.
There's the one that says Space Force craft is a apparently the Space Force announced that there has been a craft orbiting the Earth for a long time.
You talking about the black satellite?
No, like a Space Force commissioned craft.
Oh,
Really?
And people are thinking that it is what cooked Maui, maybe, or what's the directed energy weapons are being launched from.
Yeah.
But it's Joe, the cheesehead dude. He posted it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, Tony, did you ever find the videos from, what was it, like 2020 in Nashville, whenever the guy, the RV guy pulled that up with all the explosives? There was a light that came from the sky.
Yep. I remember that.
But have all those videos of that been scrubbed?
Yeah.
Okay.
So are they? Is this getting ready to basically say that this Space Force craft is what's been doing this, setting everything on fire?
Yeah. I think it may have been. It could have been people in the comments saying that more so than Joe, but if nothing else, it's weird that
Space Force.
Sorry.
No, you're good. It's weird that it was in orbit for 434 days and nobody knew about it.
I wonder where it took off from.
Craft, similar to a space shuttle, just mysteriously landed after a 434-day mission out there in space. And basically, nobody even knew it was happening until it landed. So the Space Force people are saying, hey, we can't tell you anything that happened in this mission, but we can tell you the name of the ship or spacecraft. It's an X-37B. Oh, that helps a lot. Knowing the code name. Here's a picture of the thing after it landed at Vandenberg Air Force Base in California. And it does look a lot like a space shuttle. But what was it doing if it was up there, rotating around the Earth for over 400 days? And by the way, if this Space Force thing was up there that long, they couldn't have picked up these lost astronaut bastards. I'm sure they would have appreciated the ride home. Well, since nobody involved will tell what they were doing up there, it's just a guess, but maybe they were looking into some of these shenanigans. Then again, who knows? Maybe they were just up there avoiding their families for over a year. Could be. Okay, I just wanted to share this with you. Shabadoo Booskies! Shabadoo!
Oh my God, that guy's crazy.
Joe's a character.
But I mean, that's a valid point. If that's been up there this whole time, why have they not went and got the people off the International Spaceship?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. It's cursed because SpaceX was going to go up this week and they had a launch problem. to get them.
And did you see the video? And I don't know how true it is, but it looked like it was awful true. Where there's a third person with them now.
No,
I haven't seen that.
no. Oh, Stephen, I did last week. We were talking about getting the videos about the giant on the mountain and the mermaids.
Oh yes, yes.
I did dig those up. Those are in there for tonight.
Oh, cool.
And I went through my favorites again and got about, I don't know, there's probably like 20 different videos of conspiracy related stuff.
Cool.
There's like 3 weather manipulation videos that we have.
I'm trying to find this video right here of the third person because now they are saying there's 3.
Really? There definitely was only 2.
Yeah, at Christmas time there were only 2.
Where's that damn?
And by the way, while he's looking, you can call in with us live now if you want to. It's 502-527-1210. It's down there at the bottom. Call in with your favorite conspiracy theory or tell us a story. Tell us a ghost story. We have a crazy
I would like to hear a good ghost story.
We have a crazy. Actually, I'm going to grab this video that's not in there, Cecil.
All right.
And when we get ready to get into Spookyville, you can play this video.
All right.
It's a demon that was caught on tape at a prison.
Ooh.
I just put it in a private chat.
So is this going to be like the demon they caught down there in Brazil when they were having all those floods last year?
Dude, this was like, I don't know how I would react. I always like to think I'd run toward the danger, but in this case, when you see this video,
this is the one you sent me the other day.
I probably think so.
Okay, yeah.
Where the eyes are like really far apart.
Yeah.
We'll go ahead and watch it. Well, let's see, because I cannot find that again. Let's see.
Yeah, so this is I think it says what prison it is.
My head turned around looking for the voices. I didn't notice the door.
I'm at this abandoned prison in Nashville, and I've been hearing voices. And I'm not sure if it's real.
I love the music in this video where it like.
I want to see that again. That was crazy.
Because the head's kind of cocked sideways, kind of.
Yeah,
I don't know if I believe it, man. I don't know if I believe it because I've never seen like a demon or anything like that. But we used to go ghost hunting at abandoned hospitals and stuff. And the one time I seen something, I did walk toward it. We started walking toward it, but very, very slow. And everything in me, I was about ready to start crying. You know what I'm saying? And this kid just went, "Oh my God," and turned around and started tracking off. I would have probably, if I had the nerve to run off, I would have went, and just ran off like screaming. Like I don't know. Some people are a lot more chill though, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy, with some of the eye shine or the eye glow. It's a real phenomenon. There's
Landon, did they actually get the launch? It was like 2 or 3 days ago when they said they were having launch problems. So maybe they took off.
Oh, NASA astronauts returned home after major delay. Let's see.
They're back. They're
Let's
already
see.
back.
This was 14 hours ago. I don't know. Let's find out. On March 14th, a journey that was originally supposed to be a little over a week, but was stretched out over 9 months, came to an end. They came home. NASA astronauts Sonny Williams and Butch Wilmore were selected for the first crew test flight of the Boeing Starliner, and were only supposed to stay at the International Space Station for 10 days, but it's been 9 months, so they're home. Huh.
Oh, we can get into some geopolitical stuff. There's a really cool video. That dude that we always watch, James Lee, he points out connections between Canada's new prime minister and Epstein, which was crazy. It just says new PM of Canada and Epstein is the tag of that one.
I'm a damn idiot because I went to GMO corn.
That one's cool too. That one's cool too.
I was like, "There's the GMO."
The GMO corn one is about how the U.S. is currently trying to force Mexico into GMO only.
Yeah, yeah. There's some really, really shady laws concerning the GMO corn and stuff like that, or GMO crops altogether. Anything from a GMO field blows over to another farmer's field, and it grows. Well, they can sue them for.
They're branded. Yeah, they're branded. They've got copyrights on them, or whatever you call them, patents.
They have patents.
In Indiana, when you're driving through the cornfields, each cornfield will have a metal sign with the brand, the official copywritten branding of the corn.
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, it's insane. Yeah.
I drove through Indiana once, and I remember seeing nothing but cornfields for miles and miles.
Yeah.
I was following somebody to one of the lakes to drop a semi truck off.
Well, now it's that,
but
except there's brands in front of the fields.
That's crazy. I zoned out though. Like I couldn't live in an area like that because when I drove there, like when we hit the cornfields, I was like, "Oh, this is cool," because you don't see that a lot. You don't see flat land around here. And the next thing I knew, I was like 4 hours down the road, and I don't remember how I got there. Like I just zoned completely out, and it still looked the exact same. It's weird.
I think we may have touched on this, but a lot of those cornfields now are being destroyed for solar panels too.
Oh yeah,
like thousands of acres of solar panels.
Yeah,
and it looks awful. It looks awful.
So does it? I'm sorry.
There are better ways of making electricity.
Yeah, and honestly, we need to think about something besides solar panels because when Yellowstone pops, they're going to be not very useful for a while.
Maybe something we can get into after this. There's a free energy video about this child, like a genius child that invented free energy and went missing.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, a child though.
I mean, he created for years. You can't do that. So, is there any setup needed for this one?
No, it's just it's pretty self-explanatory.
Oh yeah.
Let's run it.
Please explain to me why every single world leader seemingly has to have some kind of connection with Jeffrey Epstein. Is it not possible to just get some nice dude who wants to serve his country? Nope. Instead, it's always got to be a globalist banker who, by the way, has never held elected office and hangs out with Ghislaine Maxwell. Yeah, not ideal, I would say. But maybe maybe that was just a random photo that was taken. So I spent a little bit of time this morning to dig into this whole thing. And here is what I was able to find. So this is Mark Carney. He is the new Prime Minister of Canada. That is his wife, which we'll come back to in a second. And here, this is Ghislaine Maxwell. This is the back of her head here. Maxwell is, of course, Jeffrey Epstein's number 2, allegedly. And these photos were taken at a music festival called Wilderness, which is run by his wife's sister, his sister-in-law. Now, the Wilderness Festival is a celebration of the arts and the outdoors, both wholesome and hedonistic. Now, that I am sure of. So what was he doing at that festival? Well, turns out Carney's sister-in-law, Lady Tanya Rotherwick, is a close friend of Ghislaine Maxwell, allegedly, because Mark has denied those connections, with his team putting out this statement saying, quote, as a child, the woman you referenced, they're talking about Ghislaine Maxwell, went to the same high school as Mr. Carney's wife's sister. While they have bumped into each other in public settings, including the 11-year-old photos you were sent, they're not friends. Except here is Lady Tanya Rotherwick in Epstein's Black Book with a bunch of numbers and address listed. So maybe they're friends, possibly? Just an educated guess. Also, it was reported that when Ghislaine went missing after the whole Epstein scandal broke in the UK, Lady Tanya Rotherwick's apartment was one of the places that the press thought that she may have been staying at. So yeah, I don't think they just bumped into each other there. And now Mark Carney is the new Prime Minister of Canada.
Sweet.
You might as well go ahead and hit that the other Epstein one too. It just to add some flavor.
That's I mean, ain't it ironic how that kind of happens though? Like,
Yeah.
they don't know each other except
Well, it's like you said. Why can't there just be a normal person for once in any country, any first world country? You know, like you're not going to get a normal person.
no. This is the one for the education system, right?
Yeah.
Groovy. After this, I'm gonna have to visit the Tinkle Ferry.
Okay. But you're not sharing.
Has monopolized our education system. This company was owned by Robert Maxwell. You're probably like, okay, that's just some guy. No, that's not just some guy. That's Ghislaine Maxwell's father. He also had major ties to the CIA. He was an Israeli spy. A lot of the people that attended this man's funeral were very questionable as well. There were multiple CIA agents, multiple high-ranking government officials, and the entire Clinton family. Not only is Ghislaine Maxwell his daughter, he was really good friends with Mother Teresa. This guy put in overtime to destroy peer-reviewed research. So yeah, everything that's been fed to us through our education system is by a sex trafficking CIA agent, Israeli spy who tried to dismantle peer-reviewed research. This is why I say, do your own research. As always, this is for entertainment purposes only, and these are my opinions.
Let the beginning play again.
To blow your mind. So most of us have heard of McGraw-Hill Education. This is the company that produces the majority of textbooks, educational softwares, and generally has monopolized our education system. This company was owned by Robert Maxwell. You're probably like, okay, that's just some guy. Yeah. No, that's not just some guy.
So everybody's heard of McGraw-Hill. Like all of your kids, we all probably had their textbooks.
Yeah. 100.
So that company was owned by Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine's father.
Yeah.
So even our education system isn't untouched by these people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. That's the thing that you talk about history, break it down. His story is what history is. It's maybe like the guy who does all the Tartaria stuff. History is just a bunch of lies that people have agreed upon.
Yeah, no, it really is true. There's so much. I dug through my favorites, my history of just videos that I've saved for a lot of these, but we've got one about the Egyptian temples in Tennessee. We've got one, stone walls under the ocean. Those big, almost laser cut blocks in Wyoming.
Oh, Montana, the Sage Wall in Montana. Is another one that we probably should add to things because it's just, man, I cannot think of the guy's name now. He goes out to some of these really remote places in like Western states. And he found some of these dwellings, where people have built up in some nearly impossible places to get to.
Maybe since we're on Epstein, you can play the strange stuff that they were saying at the Queen's funeral. It was kind of weird. Like I didn't bring it to the Friday show because it's not kind of a good fit for that, but I saved it. I've had this one saved for a long time because I just thought it was weird.
Like, what do you mean? Were they like talking? Were you talking trash?
No, they were like talking about her. I don't know, like her not being able to come back this time or something.
Oh,
so she's ran out of her.
I don't know, dude. It's very strange.
Let's listen then.
Elizabeth died, and they broke her wand ceremoniously in the funeral, and they laid it on top of her coffin. What many don't know is that there's leaked audio or audio that came out while they were taking her body to there, and there was a mic or something on that caught feedback or caught somebody else speaking, not just the British commentators. and it said her death was irreversible. She's trapped. And I'm going to show you that audio right now. Now, if you noticed, the guy who was speaking, he was going to speak, and then he heard that other person speak, and he stopped. And after that other person realized that they were live on mic, they stopped. And then a few seconds later, he speaks. And nobody really knows what that means. I'm not making this up. You can go find that audio. It's still available out there. It's publicly available. And this is just the opinions of a content creator discussing with other content creators what they might think. I have no idea if this is real or not. But as an opinion, a walking opinion that I'm just throwing out there, there's a lot of rituals and ceremonies that are produced. And when they say her death is irreversible, she's trapped, I'm just throwing an opinion out there that can mean that the body's done and that her spirit, her soul is trapped wherever she is. They're able to transfer consciousness. Transhumanism is huge. It's a big thing that they're trying to, the elites, the people, the 1%er are trying to push forward. An ability to eliminate death so they can transfer their mind and consciousness in either a younger body or something more rejuvenated, a machine, an android, a cyborg, whatever have you. Unfortunately, they got caught on the hot mic saying these things, and people that know, if you know, you know more or less what they're talking about. But again, this is just an opinion for entertainment purposes. I'm really interested to think what you guys think about this whole thing.
Was Get Out a documentary?
Dude. Well, the whole thing, like, people have weird ways of phrasing things. The whole her death is irreversible. Like, you would think, like, no joke, death is irreversible.
Yeah.
But then to add she's trapped to it adds a certain feel. It's like, where is she trapped? You know.
Yeah.
This is terrifying to me, and this is something I've thought about since I was a little kid, and I hope it ain't true. I have faith it isn't true, but I've always been like, what if you pass away and you're just kind of trapped in your body?
No, I don't think they mean that. I think they mean she's trapped like interdimensionally, probably.
Right.
Because you have to think, like, all of the shamans, like all of the spiritualists across history, somebody somewhere has probably figured out how to do these sort of things, like consciousness transfers. Just like how, there's a big Reddit post right now that talks about everybody having the same dream.
Yeah.
And everybody talks about going to the same place and what they see, and like collective consciousness type things. And it's not crazy to think that if someone were to master those kind of things, that if you were to have like a child that hasn't yet gained consciousness, that you may be able to transfer consciousness in some way that we just don't know about.
That's true. There was a movie came out, and I think it was based on a creepypasta. It's got Nicolas Cage in it, of course, called Scenario, that we watched last week, where he just starts randomly showing up in people's dreams.
Nick Cage?
Yeah, Nick Cage. And like at first he's not doing anything, but then he kind of like gets in a weird spiral. And when he goes through a weird spiral, he starts like murdering people in their dreams. So like the whole world like against him, or whatever. Like some million people keep seeing him in their dreams. There used to be a common guy that was seen in everybody's dreams too, but they're saying that it's debunked now. But I remember when it was going around.
Is that what inspired Freddy? There's Freddy Krueger. There's one of those cases that inspired those movies.
Maybe. This one came out way after Nightmare on Elm Street.
Oh, okay.
Everyone has seen this man in their dreams. This is the guy that I think that movie was based off of. Oh, well, they got a AI generated thing of him now. But this right here, this was the original, like, that I remember. Like so many people said they seen this fella in their dreams. But now they've kind of debunked that. I wonder, because there are people in my dreams that I don't recognize. They always say everybody that's in your dream you've seen before.
I've seen people before I've met them.
Yeah.
I had when I was younger, I had a very weird instance of that where I saw a woman in my dreams before I met her in Florida that year. She had moved there from somewhere far away, like just completely. There's no way that I'd ever seen her before in my life.
So, with that thought, is it possible that a dream world is like a gathering place for like people that can plane walk and people that have passed on? You think?
Maybe not so much people that have passed on. Like I feel like I don't know. Like there's a lot to it. You get into religion, but even if you take religion out of it, I don't think you can take religion out of it. But it just like Morgana says sometimes, like if you have an elevator or like 7 different dimensions, and the highest dimension would be heaven, or like this perfect world, or like the creator's world. I don't know where we fall within those ranges, or whether, it's like a ladder, like every life you learn something and either climb or descend based on what you need to learn to make it to that. I've heard that theory a lot too. I don't know. There's a lot to unpack, because when people do DMT, everybody sees the same things.
Yeah, and that's weird, with the DMT. It's I remember we were doing the shaman talk, and what she was telling us on that, was you don't have to, to do that sort of thing, you don't have to use like DMT or whatever else, to be able to go there. She walked us through some of the stuff, and it was really interesting, the way that she presented it.
Yeah. So I've got another little quick hit if you want to run through it. This is another one that came to be true. This is called Project Sunshine. I think we might have talked about this recently, actually. We'll talk about it.
You have to start talking about it. I don't remember.
All right. So Project Sunshine has a real happy name, right? All right. So one of the most disturbing government experiments this is actually. Project Sunshine involves secretly taking bodies of deceased infants and children to study the effects of nuclear radiation. I'm pretty sure Stephen brought this up last week, possibly.
Yeah.
Conducted in the 1950s, the study involves stealing over 1,500 bodies without consent of families.
Mm-hmm.
The government sought to understand, it was for a good reason. They wanted to know what radiation did.
I believe that.
Oh, it's real. It's real. Most bodies were taken from poor families in developing countries, making it even more of an ethical question. The U.S. government eventually admitted to it, so they admitted to it 100%, and that kind of sparked a lot of outrage and things like that. So that's another one that people were like, they're stealing bodies, man. They're doing crazy stuff with bodies, man.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the crazy guys, the crazy homeless people talking about, they stole Larry.
There's if you look at the McDonald's hamburger one, that's a video on human. I believe it was in Michigan. They found human meat in the hamburgers.
Tasty.
Since we're on the topic.
Just say no.
Yeah.
R6. Jeff, Carolyn?
Well, Jim, obviously some extensive evidence gathering there. Are we just at the tip of the iceberg on this investigation, you think?
Could very well, and we're not clear on how long it's going to take to do the testing of what is believed human remains. But get this, you had a death in your family, you thought there was a burial or a cremation, and then you find out the body ended up here. Shocking, to say the least.
Certainly so. A lot of questions remain tonight, Jim. Thank you.
Part of this story next hour at 6.
Yeah, shocking is just a bit of an understatement on that.
They had to play that music to keep the video from getting took down.
The music on that.
Let's see.
That's nuts. I
Yeah.
mean, isn't it like been proven though that there is human meat in a lot of stuff anyway?
Yeah. There's actually an acceptable amount of human. If you go to hit the one, can they read our minds or not? Because that plays into this multidimensional thing, I think, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because I at this point, I'm convinced that they have a way to interpret our thoughts.
Oh yeah.
It's too uncanny, some of the things that I see that I don't speak out loud. And this girl, I believe, provides some evidence of that in studies.
Okay.
Not. That is the question that people are asking after Colorado has passed a law that protects your thoughts, essentially. And you might say, wait, I thought that they can't read our thoughts. That technology is not available yet. This is what we've been told. Well, there are about 30 devices already on the market that have to do with brain to computer control. And there are plenty of companies that are currently adding on to the current technology that would be able to help them read minds. Dr. Sean Pozowski, a neurologist at UC Health, says our brains are like encrypted signals, and using artificial intelligence, researchers have identified frequencies for a specific word to turn thought to text with 40% accuracy. And in a few years, that will be something like 80 to 90% accuracy. And so many medical research facilities are subject to privacy laws, but private companies are not. And they are currently amassing or going to amass large amounts of brain data. This law would actually require them to get consent before they harvest information from your brain in certain circumstances, like if it's personal data or identifying information. However, these protections do not apply to them inferring emotions or seeing how the brain reacts to certain stimuli. So it's kind of like when you surf the internet now and like your cookies, it doesn't collect your personal data, but it does use it to show you advertisements. It uses it to do whatever companies do with it. Everything I just said and far more is actually going to be in 2 different articles I put in my bio. Can they read our minds or not? That is.
I mean,
so yeah, it's there.
Yeah,
I think it's already in place with all the towers everywhere.
Well, by the time they get to the point where they're going to be making laws to protect your thoughts, they've already moved on to the next thing.
Yeah, there's already been gross misconduct at that point.
Yes.
Speaking of towers, I'm glad you brought that up. You know where I live, Tully. I live on a holler, but I do live on a ridge line. People just don't know it. Right down the road across from the church, there was a big open parking lot. They're putting a tower right there.
You'll have to let me know if your dreams and stuff change after they do that.
Yeah, because I'll be able to see it from here. Like it's like right there.
There's one close to me too, and I have found that and this sounds crazy, and my wife wasn't a believer at first, but if we put which I've told you guys this about me, but if we both at this point put our phones in airplane mode and in Faraday cages at night when we sleep. And we've both noticed a major improvement in our sleep since we've done that. And I think it's we call them 5G dreams. I think it's just affecting your brain waves.
Yeah, that very well could be. Is that going to be affecting the pineal gland with all the 5G?
I mean, it has to, right? Like our bodies are mainly energy anyway, and it's being disrupted by other waves.
Dude, that's its whole own conspiracy. Like when the radio first came out, the radio waves.
Yeah.
It was in tandem with one of those big plague outbreaks. And almost every time they release a new version of waves, there's some sort of illness that year, like a new illness. And the conspiracy is that they think that they're covering up, like they tell everybody it's the flu or whatever, and it's really just people getting sick from the amount of waves they're introducing.
Yeah. So when we went to 5G, whenever 5G began becoming popular, wasn't that around 2019, 2020?
This is when the big push, yeah. That was one of the big conspiracies back then too.
Yeah.
Can you do a cross reference totally while I'm doing this? Because I want this has something to do with this. Can you look up if there was any kind of like what, or you might even know what diseases came out in between the 1880s and 1900?
Oh, the Spanish flu was around there. I think it was more like the 20s though.
19, I think, is when the Spanish flu came around. I think.
1918 to 1920.
Yeah.
Have you
100 years later?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen what New York actually looked like in the 1880s and 1900, like early 1900s when the phone came out?
No, I don't think I've seen that picture. I'm looking at
What are you
it.
talking about? Yeah.
Look at that.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy, dude? Like, you don't see that picture. Like, you don't realize that New York and places like these metropolises, when they first started getting electric and phones and things like that, this is what it looked like.
God, imagine like we always talk about like free energy and stuff, and probably it's left over from other civilizations.
Yeah,
like imagine some of the cities that were founded like already ornate buildings and stuff, and then they do this to it.
Yeah,
because they didn't know how to recreate some of the energy techniques that were being used before.
Ain't that wild though, man? It was literally a web.
Isn't that neat with the geoengineering? And you see the spider webs that across the crossword patterns up there in the sky.
I saw the other day a reminder about the northern lights that we had that probably weren't the northern lights.
Yeah.
And how it's very similar to like what happens with HARP, like when like the experiments that turns the sky red. It's just crazy that everybody's like the northern lights. Like Facebook was lit up with people like these are the northern lights.
Yeah,
and
I never and shared them with y'all.
Never before though. I mean, we all know what aurora looks like, and it don't look like that.
Yeah, it's its own phenomenon.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of crazy. My favorite picture I got though was from my coworker Nick. He sent me one where somebody took a blue marker and a pink marker, and I think you might have done it actually.
We might as well do some weather manipulation.
Let's do weather.
The weather manipulation and the one that says sun and moon probably all go together.
There's three for weather manipulation. Is that right?
Yeah.
But I mean, they are at this point. Weather manipulation, I think, is like getting burnt just because it's like we do that now. They're like, yeah, we do that.
But people still don't believe it is the problem.
That's weird because it's literally in the news.
People still don't believe it. People still don't believe it.
Yeah, and with this weather manipulation, it's thinking back to what Stan was talking about with the Hopi prophecy. Whenever you see the spider webs in the sky,
maybe people don't believe it because it's just too scary.
Maybe so. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to shut the video down.
No, you're fine. No, I kind of want to talk about it too because I mean, they put it in the news.
Yes.
They're like, the bar got so hot they went ahead and made it rain. like it's there.
Yeah. And people, you'll hear experts, keyboard experts on the internet be like, well, yeah, but that doesn't mean that it's causing it to flood. Or they'll be like, you just don't understand how science works. Like stuff like that.
We're all familiar with cause and effect.
Yeah, it never fails. It never fails, and I don't know whether it's just bots they send after videos like that, but it's
that right there. I don't know. To me, I've long suspected, that there are paid trolls to go on certain things, just to stir up trouble or do their best to try to debunk.
Oh my God!
You know what it feels like? They developed the term conspiracy theory actually came about during the JFK stuff, right?
Right. Yeah.
And that was to discredit any kind of evidence anybody pushed forward because they're like, "Oh, you're a crazy conspiracy theorist." But with all the conspiracies coming true now, it's like the trolls that do that are the new conspiracy theorists. They're there to further it, like no, that didn't happen. And then it has us going, it's everywhere. It's true. And they're like, no.
This is kind of a blurry picture, but they have these farms. They have a lot of these in China, and it's these big farms full of phones that are hooked up, and one person sits at a central computer, and there will be thousands of these phones that can go on a profile or a video and just dox the hell out of whatever the video is.
Yeah.
And these people are paid. So you if you're a celebrity and you have something come out and you hire the right PR firm, the PR firm has contact with these phone farms. They will, whatever, like if they want positive comments in the comment section to just flood out the bad, they'll hire one of these firms to flood the hell out of a video or somebody's profile,
right,
with whatever content you want.
How do we pay these people to boost our numbers?
You gotta know people.
Yeah. Yeah, and with that right there, that's what's getting some of the creators in trouble nowadays. It's not necessarily what the content they're putting out; it's the comments.
Yeah.
You ever come across a video while you're scrolling of like a Chinese person selling something or doing something?
Yeah.
Sometimes they'll just be standing around, or so I've seen. If you look at the opposite end of that video, a lot of times it'll be something like this. They'll have that many phones and all of them are sharing that live on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so that even if one doesn't hit, they've got 1,000 chances of people seeing the video and like gifting or, paying for whatever they're selling.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And then it becomes trending.
Yes, exactly.
If you have 1,000 people sharing a video, it's going to trend.
Well, and it's just like a couple months ago, before TikTok went away, people were like, well, this is the end of TikTok, so we might as well hate the celebrities. And there was this big campaign to like mass unfollow celebrities. You would see the peaks go like this, and then they would pay for followers the next day because they can.
Yeah.
And it would shoot right back up to where it dipped, like to before the numbers before it dipped. So they have contingencies in place. Like anytime I see people with millions of followers, there's no way that they have millions of followers, especially on TikTok. TikTok's like a volatile. Everybody is like so unserious on there anyway.
Yep.
Like nobody's like wondering what Kim Kardashian's doing on TikTok.
No.
And she's got millions of followers. She was one of the people. You could see her follower account dive, and then the very next day it boosts right back up to where it was.
That's just because people couldn't go 24 hours without Kim K, man.
Yeah. There's a girl going viral now in the last couple of days for talking like her. And it's actually hilarious. But yeah, let's play some weather manipulation video.
Right, let's get back to it.
Scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. Lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning. CBS Morning contributor Michio Kaku is a physics professor at City College of New York. Professor, Nice to see you. Extraordinary seeing Al Gore and Bill Clinton there together with Charlie, wasn't it?
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. They did not get into this discussion,
No.
though. But it is fascinating. I mean, lasers, really? To change the weather?
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far, it works. When you have water vapor and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain. It condenses around the seeds. These seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning. Go ahead.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, did those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Inconclusive. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons during the Vietnam War, to wash out the Viet Cong. Governments have been playing with this thing.
Alleged to.
Alleged to, right.
Yeah.
Now,
boys.
Experimented with weather control, but nothing conclusive. This time we're digging into the laws of physics rather than simply waving our hands and uttering mumbo jumbo. We're actually using trillion-watt lasers now. And in the laboratory, sure enough, they precipitate rain out of water vapor. Sure enough, you can actually bring down electricity down the beam.
So what does it mean for drought areas that need to have rain for crops? And if they don't have them, there's the consequences of famine.
Well, the bad news is if it's a clear blue sky, it's not going to do anything at all because it only takes water vapor that's already in the air and condenses it. However,
but we've seen that they can make the clouds.
For farmers, for people planning wedding parties, football games, you name it, outdoor events and agriculture and flooding and even hurricanes. All of them could be subject to weather modification.
Incredibly interesting. Learning that science.
Oh my God.
And people still won't believe it.
He said they did this in Vietnam, allegedly.
They flooded and drowned the locals.
Yeah,
allegedly.
When you fill the tunnels up with water, yeah, they're going to have to come out.
Yeah, we drowned the locals, allegedly.
Then he's talking about firing those trillion-watt lasers in there. You know, part of the stuff that's allegedly been put up was aluminum. Does aluminum conduct electricity? Pretty sure it does.
Yeah.
Barium?
We drowned all those people allegedly. That's what kills me about that.
Yeah, gee, I mean the fact that they could affect a hurricane, huh? Gee, huh? Yeah. Could they affect one to go 500 miles?
Yeah, or I mean, they've already been sued for that.
I mean, we're just asking the question. I mean, not only can allegedly, they can also use dry ice to affect the direction of a hurricane as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact they said, but if it's a clear blue sky, you can't do it. And I'm trying to find a video now, and of course I can't find it when I need it. We've watched the news report of them creating a cloud.
I could probably find it from our last.
I'll be back in a minute. Yes, I've got to. I'm just going to cover it up. I can't turn my screen off.
You have it, Tinkle Fairy?
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure. I've been summoned for just a minute.
I put it in the private chat, Cecil.
What's so crazy about it is them saying that it's got to be clear blue sky, but I mean, well, they can create a cloud. This is old too, which is so messed up about it. This is not new. Let's go ahead and
might as well
watch them create a cloud here.
Oh my Lord!
No, they can't control the weather.
This is the shuttle's fuel tank. It may only be 130 miles to space,
Let's
but to
see.
cover that distance, the engines will use 500,000 gallons of fuel. And
I
that works out.
I want to get to the part where it shows the cloud in the sky.
It's toward the end.
Through which they played white noise to
Yeah.
simulate the sound.
Yeah. Let's watch this. Because this is them doing it right here in front of them. And of course, he's got his
Don't worry if you can't
earbuds
hear
on.
what I'm saying. I couldn't
And if
even
you're
hear
listening to
myself.
audio only, this is a man sitting in front of a machine that's
And
putting
as it
off a
turns out,
very thick
the
white
cleanest.
gas that resembles a cloud, which is a
The
puffy
most amazing thing is that
marshmallow.
that cloud up there,
And right
which
there
was
it is.
generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain.
What?
This is definitely like 1990s, early 2000s.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
But it's fake.
Sometimes I think it's just too scary for people.
So they just talked about shooting
Hey,
off
Doc.
these lasers
Doc.
that well, I don't even know, what did they say? A trillion
Trillion watt lasers to trigger
You heat up the ionosphere.
to trigger rain and lightning from clouds. And then the second video we just watched was them making clouds.
Yeah.
Yeah, making clouds.
But they can't control the weather.
But they
And I don't know how many patents there may be now, but it used to, if you went to the Sirius, was it Sirius.com? It was there were over 100 patents for weather manipulation.
Oh yeah, I'm sure there's
over
way
100
more
that began in the early 1900s.
I hit another one of those, so I don't even know what all I had in there. The weather stuff.
This is directly under it. I hope it's weather.
Oh, this is a next Disney movie about weather manipulation. The movie, it was a film called Eyes in Outer Space.
Eyes in Outer Space.
Yeah. Hit it though and see if it sounds familiar.
On the ground, chemical cloud seeders begin to work the two storm areas. Robot planes seed the clouds from above. The storm centers over Kansas and over Labrador intensify as seeding continues.
Now changing over to Hurricane Center HE.
The fury of the hurricane mounts as 100-mile-an-hour winds lash the sea to a foaming frenzy.
All stations, Sector C. Activate Phase 2 Control Plan Delta. Set vapor rockets for 42,000 feet.
As an emergency measure, the controller calls for a salvo of vapor rockets to be fired ahead of the path the hurricane is predicted to take. These artificial clouds will block the sun from evaporating more water to feed the hurricane. The reports coming into the control center indicate that the diversionary cloud seeding over Kansas is now creating a flood danger. Specially equipped robot aircraft are dispatched immediately to release a high concentration of cloud seeding material into the fringes of the storm. Heavier seeding
Does that not look like lasers?
helps to subdue the rain.
You did.
A wider area. The controller calls for another view of the hurricane, which has now moved closer to the coast.
So yeah, you can kill that one. I don't know how long it goes on for, but yeah, that's from the 50s.
And you know, I don't trust much anymore, so I had to fact check it in real time, and it's as of right now at 9:22 p.m. on March 15, 2025. This was real.
But it hit the last one. Is another I think it was another news segment where the dude is in an airplane and you don't really know what he's doing, and then all of a sudden there's like an oh shit moment.
You're joking me. All right. This is ridiculous. I've just seen clouds. This is the first one.
So I flip this to L2, and then I bring this to 1, and fire. Now look at that. Five, fire. 6, 8, fire. 9, fire. Okay, vertical. Okay. Let's see some clouds. Look at this. So,
but it's all fake because whenever the stuff happened in Dubai with those crazy electrical storms that look apocalyptic, they literally said, "Oh, this is because of climate change." But they've neglected to say that for the 3 days before that, they were cloud seeding the hell out of the area to get it to rain.
Yeah.
Which they have done before.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean,
What was amazing?
Go ahead.
What was really amazing to me is the fact that they get 2 inches rain and they had all that flooding.
Yeah.
I mean, my goodness. I mean, here in the lower U.S., I mean, it's not uncommon at all for us to get 6 to 8 inches of rain in 2 days.
They just don't have the infrastructure. Like they probably didn't have the drains or nothing.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You know, and it was really wild, you know, that they had snow in the desert recently.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And if you think that weather manipulation can't do that, I mean, if you mess with Mother Nature, you're going to mess it up.
Yeah, go to our inventory. We spent 3 hours doing a deep dive into the history of weather manipulation. Watch that show.
Yeah.
And then come back on one of our live shows and we'll talk about it. If you think it's not real.
Yeah.
I mean, I've showed y'all. I remember one of the first shows I ever did with y'all was we showed I showed the pictures of how they had made the cross patterns up in the sky. At one time there were 40 planes in the sky, and 3 days later what was that on a Thursday, I think is when they were doing that, and on Saturday we had snow.
Yeah.
So it's and that's been the trend. Somewhere between 2 and 3 days after they do all the spraying, you're going to get rain. It's I first started paying attention to this in about 2012.
Yeah, that's probably about the time that we got interested in it too. Whenever all the lines started showing up.
Yep.
What's crazy, like that picture that I sent you guys last year of where now sometimes you can see a shadow behind the trails.
Yeah.
Like it's very strange looking.
You want to hear another quick hit that turned out to be true?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Developed during the Cold War, there was a weapon that could deliver an undetectable toxin, very tiny ice dart that caused fatal heart attacks and appeared natural. And this is what they were using. This is what the conspiracy theorists were saying. They're going around making people die with darts and all this stuff. And people's like, you're fucking insane, bro. Well, the gun was revealed in 1975 during the Senate hearing, where it was shown that the dart would dissolve after entering the body, leaving no trace of foul play.
I believe that.
I mean, they showed it in the Senate hearing. It's legit.
You know, word on the street is there is such a thing as a heart attack machine as well.
Yeah. My thing about it is this was in 1975, which was what, 50 years ago now?
Mm-hmm.
So 50 years ago, they had a heart attack gun.
Yeah.
What do they have now? You know, I mean, they don't
Yeah.
stop. When they get something like this, they don't stop making new things. You know what I'm saying?
No, they don't. It's
They're not like, hey, that's perfect. That's all we're ever going to need. They keep developing more. It's something
Yeah.
what else.
Yeah,
You remember how like the stories about how the TV when it was first being introduced or like programmed that people were seeing like ghosts and stuff in the TV, and there was a dude that like refined in on that. I threw a video. If you look at the multi-dimensional device video, it's a dude that allegedly created basically a TV to talk to not just ghosts, but communicate with other dimensions.
They actually had something like that in the earliest stages of TV.
Yeah. That's what I don't know if this is the same dude that you're thinking about, but it's definitely in the same vein.
I've never seen a video of.
And while we're playing videos, just know that if you're out there listening and you want to talk about something crazy, you can call us. The numbers down there. We just implemented that. So
if you're a Bigfoot eroticist,
it's right there.
Yeah, tell us some Bigfoot erotica.
I have been wanting to talk to somebody that writes Bigfoot erotica since we started this. Like legit.
I know
They're out there.
one really strange story. I'll say that.
They're
They're
out
actually a suburb of a really big city
Nice.
in Texas.
We need to get them on here. All right.
Mysterious world of scientific research. Few discoveries capture the imagination as profoundly as the concept of entities that exist outside of our realm. Dr. Daniel Nems, a pioneering scientist and researcher, stands at the forefront of this intriguing field. Nems is renowned for his creation of an innovative energy device known as energy vision, which, according to his claims, can photograph these mysterious entities. Dr. Daniel Nems is a scientist with a background in quantum physics and energy research. Nems devoted his career to exploring the intersections of energy, matter, and dimensions beyond our conventional understanding. He soon became fascinated by theories of parallel dimensions and alternate realities. Oddly enough, despite publishing these findings, there is a scarcity of information available on him, and the majority of his work has been wiped from the internet. As a result, some have suggested that shortly after sharing these discoveries, he vanished. Nems' interest in this research was partly inspired by the pioneering work of theoretical physicists who posited the existence of multiple dimensions beyond the familiar three-dimensional space. Driven by curiosity and a desire to push the boundaries of human knowledge, Nems began experimenting with novel energy devices aimed at detecting and interacting with these unseen realms. Energy vision, the groundbreaking device developed by Daniel Nems, represents the culmination of years of research and experimentation. The device combines principles from quantum mechanics, electromagnetism, and advanced imaging technology to purportedly capture images of entities existing in dimensions parallel to our own. Energy vision consists of a sophisticated array of sensors and emitters that generate and detect specific frequencies of electromagnetic energy. These frequencies are theorized to resonate with the energy signatures of these beings, making them visible to the device's sensors. The captured data is then processed by advanced algorithms to produce visual images, which are displayed on a high-resolution screen. The device operates by emitting a controlled burst of energy into a defined area and then scanning the area for any anomalies in the energy field. According to Nems, these mysterious beings interact with these energy fields in ways that are detectable by energy vision's sensors. The resulting images reveal shapes and forms that do not correspond to any known physical entities, suggesting the presence of beings from other dimensions. If the device's capabilities are validated, the implications for science and our understanding of the universe would be profound. The ability to photograph these entities,
I think you can kill it there.
Evidence for the.
But yeah, another sort of so that isn't the old one that I was thinking of, but it's
No.
kind of in the same vein.
That's really intense, and you know he's really smart because of that haircut he had.
Yeah.
But I mean, not to discredit that, but there was a Stephen, you might know the name of this. There was a rumor, a conspiracy of like it looked like a TV, but it had weird rabbit ears on it.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know, maybe the early 1900s, maybe.
Yeah, people could talk to their dead loved ones.
Yeah.
Is what it.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I don't remember much about it. What's coming to mind right now is the spirit box. You know, it's but yeah, this right here, talking about all these different dimensions and stuff like that. Paul Harvey actually mentioned that. Oh my goodness, it was like the early 2000s, something like that. Talking about how in just a few years, you know, we thought we'd be able to see multiple layers and possibly other dimensions. I believe, if I remember it correctly.
Yeah,
the early 2000s was quite a while ago now. And and I'd never heard him say anything else about it. I mean, it all just nothing else was ever said. You know, he's talking about this right here. It's as far as what this is, it's truly strange. You know, especially there are people who can do astral travel and things like that, or other people can actually see into other dimensions and things. It's not something new as far as somebody else being able to see into another dimension. It's been around for thousands of years that some people have had the ability to do so. I don't know.
Yeah, well, I heard somebody explain it one time. Like, you remember the old Super Nintendo games that are just like side scrollers?
Yeah.
So imagine that's us, and like us is in like this reality, and then the player would be like the fourth or fifth dimension. And in that scenario, if you were to try to explain the real world to somebody in Donkey Kong, they're probably not going to be able to comprehend like what we perceive in the third dimension.
Oh, right. Exactly. Yeah. It's with that right there, I mean, probably the easiest example I could give would be if we had people who lived in a two-dimensional world, and we somehow had the ability to throw a beach ball, a basketball, or something like that into their two-dimensional world. They would see the shape of the circle, but they wouldn't be able to perceive that it was actually a spear, a ball that was going through there. So that would be how that is. So if there are others, we're basically with us, we're basically 3.5 dimensions is what I would prefer to say. Height, depth, width, plus time that only moves forward. So that would only be a half a dimension for us. As far as for me, I can't go back in time. So it's only a half a dimension for me. But those that might be at a 5th, 6th, 7th dimension, that's going to be a completely different world for us.
Yeah.
I feel that. Yeah, I mean, and there's going on that theory. I think the theory was that there could be 2D. There could be a 2D world. We live in that 3D world, and there could be 4D world, 5D, so on. And like the 2D people couldn't see us, but we could see them.
Yes.
Just like anybody that's in a different dimension higher than ours can see us, but we can't see them.
Right.
And you only always, and to even think that you saw them, you just catch a glimpse.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, and think about that right there. I mean, with people who do paranormal investigations, and even people who go out Bigfoot, sometimes what's pretty common is that in your peripheral vision, you'll see something move, but when you look directly at it, you can no longer see it.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there's been quite a few people who have experienced that.
Yeah.
Trying to think of what else. Maybe we promised that we would talk about the giants and mermaids last week, and we didn't.
Yeah. Before we do that, though, there's one of these that kind of plays into one of your videos, possibly, if you want to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's I can't say it. COINTELPRO. Have you ever heard of the conspiracy COINTELPRO? COINTELPRO.
COINTELPRO something. Yeah. Anyway, yeah.
Hit it.
We know what you're talking about.
So this is the ones I got are quick hits because they're all true. You can go Google them. The FBI counterintelligence program. Oh, well, that's where the name comes from. Was a covert internet. I was making fun of Tully for mispronouncing one word. Here I am doing the normal thing I do. But anyway, it was a covert. Never mind. I'm gonna start over. The FBI's counterintelligence program was a covert program that infiltrated, surveilled, and disrupted the civil rights organization, Black Panthers, feminist groups, and even anti-war movements. The FBI used wiretaps, false imprisonment, and disinformation tactics to silence leaders like Martin Luther King and Malcolm X.
Yeah, you got to play that.
The program was exposed in 1971, so it came out to be true when the activists broke into the FBI office and leaked documents proving the U.S. government had been illegally spying on its own citizens.
Mm-hmm.
So that's another one that came true because the government was basically trying to disrupt any kind of civil rights movement. They was like, we need to know everything about it so we can break it down.
I've always thought it was interesting. Like all that stuff came out on MLK, and I've always thought it was weird that they didn't like you never hear people talk about Malcolm X in the same way that people talk about Martin Luther King.
Nope.
And I think that's because I think there's a reason for that. But Cecil's got a video that I saved of them talking about this exact subject.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to play it.
Got to kill Malcolm. Malcolm was standing on the stage like I am. They threw a smoke bomb in the back. When everybody got to watch the commotion, the brothers ran up with double-barrel shotguns and shot him. But under the Freedom of Information Act, we were able to get the autopsy of Malcolm, and all the bullets in Malcolm is going down. Now, I can't stand on this stage and y'all down there pointing up, which means the government has such a low view of those black folks that would do it. They didn't even give them real bullets. They gave them blanks. Malcolm was shot from the ceiling top. And also under the Freedom of Information, the CIA have been forced to admit that they rented the Audubon Ballroom a week before. And that's when they went in there and tore them walls out and put them guns in the wall and shot him from a downward projection. The black folks that they got.
That's so crazy. And I mean, that paired with what I just went over, I mean, there's no doubt, right? Like they were going around and killing civil rights leaders left and right. Like back then, it was nuts.
Everything's inverted. So, Malcolm probably was what they say Martin Luther King was.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate, now with the things coming out about MLK, there had always been rumors, but that was a hit job too, though. Like, I don't know whether he was just getting too vocal about some of the connections he had. But yeah, total hit job.
I don't know, man. It's so weird living in the world we live in now, which everything's gotten more racial the older I get, which is strange. Because when I was younger, it didn't seem like that big of a thing to me, I guess. So maybe I just didn't notice it.
It started it started around 2012. Like if you look at the news articles, like those search terms and the terms used in news articles exploded. Like if you go from the 90s to now, in the middle somewhere, those kind of terms that were being used in articles that are fed to the public exploded like thousands of %.
But I mean, we do have a history of, for sure trying to disrupt any kind of movements or anything that would further any kind of.
All I'm saying is I don't think they're trying to heal it. I think they're trying to exploit it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. With, I don't know. I guess it's be another one of those alleged things that anytime a movement grows to have over 10,000 people in it, other people start paying attention.
Yeah. There's a movie called Tropic Thunder that has a phrase in it that I really love. Everybody love everybody.
Yeah.
Just everybody love everybody. Get over it. But let's see. So, do you want to move on to the ones that we promised last week?
Yeah, we can.
Or do you want to hit that?
There's so many really cool ones, like the Egyptian temples in Tennessee is a cool one.
Yeah, I've got it all now. I don't know about you all.
Yeah, we say that, and then in 20 minutes, you're going to start sawing logs.
Yeah, I took a nap. Let's see. The giant one's pretty unique because
I think that's the original video too.
Really?
Yeah.
Is it the one of them doing push-ups?
Nope.
Let's see.
Is it a broken link?
No, it worked.
Okay.
Let's see.
I should have got the one that I sent in the group chat where the dude's like, 10 hood. He's like, what's your favorite drug? And the guy's like, methamphetamine, sir.
I'm gonna play this one without sound just because it doesn't really require it.
That's fine.
Basically, if you're listening audio only, this is a guy that was driving down the road and zoomed in to a mountaintop, and you see what looks like a giant shadowy figure walking the ridgeline of this mountaintop.
People went back and it's not there.
Yep.
And the dude who took the video is not alive anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So the backstory on that was after he filmed this video, he started acting a little strange and disappeared off the internet for a little while. Then he came back for one final video, I believe. And then right after that, he was no longer part of this realm.
Yeah, they said that well, you can keep playing the video just so we can kind of talk, like maybe if people didn't see it.
Yeah.
It's like pause the video right there.
Mm-hmm.
So point at what we're talking about. Okay. So that little figure,
this right here,
would have to be, they estimated, I think, 20 to 30 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
And there are other videos that are more zoomed in, but I wanted to get the original. But yeah, they
what am I doing?
They said that this figure would have to be like 20, 30 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
And you can kind of see it, like the arms at the waist and the legs.
All right, I got a little. All right, here's the arms. You got a little noggin on him right there.
Yeah.
But yeah, this would have to be.
I don't recall the state that this was in.
Oh God, I don't either, Stephen.
All right. To add a little bit more to the story, as Cecil said, the man came back for one more video. Some of the other information that came out about this guy was that he made 2 separate attempts to get up on top of that mountain, and both times he was met by authorities that told him to leave.
Really?
And, yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when you get into the western states and you go north, you run across really big four-toed tracks. Some of these tracks can be in excess of 25 inches that people have found. The Navajo have a story about how they sent people north to chase these giants out of their area. That seems to have validity to it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
One of my favorite stories of all time was there was a couple who were going on a one of these little narrow roads, and they had their RV on it, and they'd stop and they get out of the vehicle, I think maybe to walk up the mountain or walk up the hill or something there, and they heard a loud noise, and when they came back, their RV was still in the narrow road, but it was on the top. The tires were straight up in the air.
Crazy.
Now, you explain to me what can do that, and because I'd really like to know more, and I want to make sure I'm far enough away from that area where I'm trying.
You definitely don't run around into anything like that. And like a giant like this, like where do you think it resides? Do you think it lives in a cave within this mountain, or do you think that it's from the hollow earth and it just came out for a little sun?
It really makes you wonder. You know, I've heard some of the reports. You know, Steve Quayle, he talked about giants a lot years ago, and I believe maybe it was a Russian dentist who had made it into an area. I believe I may or may not be quoting this story correctly, but he's talking about this Russian dentist that made it into an area where he actually found some of these giants that were actually in stasis. They were still alive, but you know, they weren't. They were just not doing anything. So it's kind of like they were in a deep sleep or something like that. So it really, you know, there are a lot of really strange stories out there, and I think probably the people who tune into us probably may think along the same lines that we do, that truth is actually stranger than fiction most of the time. So
yeah, I agree. There's just so much that we keep finding out about year after year. The longer we do this, the more we find inconsistencies with everything that we've been told.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, that's what drove us all to do this anyway.
Yeah.
Do you want to watch the mermaids next, or do you want to stay on giants a little bit, or do you want to watch the Egyptian?
Oh, I think we got to watch the Egyptian temples for Alan.
Yeah.
And honestly, Alan, it's not just Tennessee. There, we tracked down that book from I think it was reprinted in 1920 that talked about Egyptian temples found in Lexington, Kentucky, too. But yeah, you can roll with that one. It's a Museum of Terra video.
Yeah, they Egyptian temples are everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
They honestly are. All right,
if they're Egyptian
yeah.
temples.
No.
Oh, you're not sharing, Cecil, again. Make sure to start it over.
Crap. This is not the right video, by the way. I'm glad I wasn't sharing it. This can't be the right video.
Cecil was watching Big Booty Chasers. I
had wrong. I keep that running on silent.
Here we go. 30s, when archaeologists found an Egyptian temple buried in eastern Tennessee. That's okay. Not a lot of people do. But back in 1934, they were building something called Norris Dam, just north of Knoxville, Tennessee. The Tennessee Valley Authority started surveying the valley that the Norris Dam was going to flood. They found many native mounds and started excavating a bit and found some really extraordinary things. As they started digging, they found layer after layer and went down over 20 foot until they found a 100-foot by 100-foot platform with a large raised area in the center. They called this a temple. As they dug deeper and deeper, they found multiple skeletons on the site, unlike any that they'd found in the area. And the site itself kept getting deeper and deeper. It appeared to just keep going. At the time, it caused quite an uproar, and over 400 workers were excavating that site. They found multiple relics that were unlike anything they had seen in the area, including a pigment box that held a shade of purple that could only be found in sea mollusks and was completely unknown in North America. The site gained the attention of James Randall Harris, a professor of ancient languages from Cambridge and later Johns Hopkins University. Harris came up with some very interesting conclusions. And I quote, "The Hopewell," he writes, "were latecomers who raised the mounds of earth over a much older temple built by pharaonic Egyptian emigres to the most important deities, Isis, the Queen of Heaven, and her husband, Osiris, the god of resurrection." I have his book on order, as well as the 400-page book on the excavation from the Smithsonian. So I'll undoubtedly be speaking about this more in a future video. But for now, that area has some very interesting correspondences with legends from the Cherokee. The Cherokee have legends about a group of priesthood that lived in their area called the Anikutani. This priesthood was wiped out. Now, I'm going to read this directly from a historical source, so you know it's not my words. Quote, from Cherokee Principal Chief Charles Hicks in 1826 in his manuscript, The History of the Cherokee People, "The mound builders were greatly weakened by a plague. We entered the North Carolina mountains from the west, and we killed and drove off the mound builders. We burned their temples atop the mounds and then constructed our towns and houses on the mounds. The Cherokee never built any mounds." Further on, quote, "The Anikutani professed themselves, as stated by the traditioners, to be the teachers of heavenly knowledge from the creation, and the manner of their introduction to the assembled people is usually at night. And they usually came with the words, 'I am from above.' The name was a foreign word to the Cherokee. The Katani came to mean somebody who starts a fire or a sorcerer. These tales all come from the area of eastern Tennessee, right where that temple is. And that temple is now under a lake."
How convenient.
Norris Lake. Very,
Dude,
very popular fishing spot.
That is about 50 minutes to an hour away from me. When we go to Wingstop, because the closest one's in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. We drive an hour and a half to get wings. Don't judge. No, judge. I don't give a shit. But but we get off the Norris exit, and the dam is like right there.
Mhm.
And we actually they have an Appalachian museum right there, and they got some weird stuff right outside the gift shop that's supposedly from like the 1800s. That this kind of has me questioning now.
Yeah, Alan, it's crazy, dude. It makes you wonder if all the serpent mounds, like, and all the other mounds, like if they're saying that Native Americans weren't really mound builders like that, like maybe the mounds were either made by other, I forget the word he used for it, but immigrants, earlier immigrants, like Egyptian immigrants.
I'm going to have to go back to the Appalachian Museum because we only went to the gift store. Like we was like, well, I don't feel like walking around this whole place. But have you ever seen it? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm. I've never been there.
So it's basically like they have old buildings and old equipment and stuff like from the 1800s there, like from like Pioneer, like when it was, a rustic place. Before the dam would have probably been built even. And they've got some weird stuff out front that they have stories like this was Abraham Lincoln's wheat bowl. It's got stuff like that outside of the gift shop. And I kind of want to walk around the property now to see what else they might have there because this is right next to this.
Yeah, well, the skeleton thing was interesting too, because I wonder if they were giants.
Yeah.
Because they said that it was unlike any skeleton that they had seen. And, you're not going to know whether somebody's Egyptian by immediately looking at their skeleton.
No. No, I mean, you got to think they pulled the giants out from northern Kentucky and southern Ohio. Like they were pulling out like Native American giants with 2 rows of teeth that were 12 feet tall.
Well, I told you they were doing emergency surgery on the serpent mounds, didn't I?
Yeah, that's kind of weird to me. What are they doing?
I don't know. It's supposed to open back up later this month. It's closed completely to the public right now.
I almost put money that somebody was walking through there, and with all the crazy weather and erosion and stuff that we've had around here, that was like, "What's this?"
Yeah,
and it's like, "Oh, okay, shut down." You know what I mean? Like until they can get all of it out.
Yeah, but just a fun note to add to it. You know, he's talking about the dye that they had. That's typically found in the Mediterranean Sea. It's comes from like a Shikalev snail.
Really, to me, you know, it doesn't really. The only thing it does to me is it signifies that there was a world trade.
Yes, absolutely.
Like back then, and it went through the Americas. Like that's the only thing it could be. There's with the pyramids and everything that's scattered throughout the whole world, which Stan has a good theory about it, that, you know, everything was connected and there was a world trade. So
yeah, and the fact that you go back several thousand years, the ocean level was 400 feet lower than what it currently is. So it wouldn't have been as far to travel. You know, I mean, it'd still be a good distance, you know, to travel. But the Phoenicians, they had barges that could haul hundreds of people.
Yeah.
You know, they were out in the oceans really early on. Who knows, you know, with how far back that actually went. You know, they were seafaring people. The tribe of Dan, they were in ships long before Israel ever had their first king. So they were out traveling the Mediterranean as well. You know, it's just like the Portugal and Spain, that was actually called the Iberian Peninsula at one time. Whenever they wanted to make bronze or brass, they had to have tin mixed in with the copper to produce that. And the tin mines were in Great Britain. So
ain't that weird? Like, I mean, and like Tully was saying before he dropped off for no reason. But,
no warning.
He's probably using the restroom. But they found a very similar thing like this right here is explained, like this was explained, they found in Norris, Tennessee. They also found something very similar around the same time. It looked like on the picture, it's the same kind of picture, that sepia look, in Lexington, Kentucky.
Yeah. Right.
So weird. They're only about the distance from Lexington to this place would have been about 3.5 hours. So I mean, that's not far out of the realm of possibility. That's 3.5 hours. You know,
I don't know if you addressed Alan's comment, but when we were talking to Stan Deo, he would tell you, yes, Alan, that Noah was a giant.
Oh yeah, there is that common belief that Noah, Shem, Ham, and Japheth were all very, very large. So
and lived a long time.
Yeah,
very
long
time.
Yeah, Noah. Yeah, lived for hundreds and hundreds of years.
Wasn't Abraham the oldest at like 1100 or something, or
it was Methuselah. Methuselah was 969 years old whenever he died, but he died before his father did.
Yeah.
Who was Enoch?
Yeah. That's right.
his death shall bring, is what Methuselah.
I'm glad you brought that up, because I tell Manny all the time, you're looking old as Methuselah.
Well, let me ask you this: like, let's say if we could live 1,000 years.
I don't want to.
No, let's just say if you did, though, like, let's say it was normal in society, would we still be considered children?
Oh,
yeah. The way the Bible describes it during the millennial reign is that somebody who dies at 100 years old during that time period will be thought of, you know, kind of like it's still being a child. You know, it's going to be a really, really sad thing if somebody only makes it to 100 during that time.
I just wonder, like what kind of behavioral or, you know, developmental things you would go through if you could live to be 1,000. Like, what happens at year 500? You know, what do you do with your time at that point? Like, what are you one with the earth? You know what I mean?
Right. And that would be the thing. I mean, if you were able to live 800 years, 900 years, and be healthy and live a good life, and you were able to retain all the knowledge that you learned in that lifetime, Man, think of how amazing that would be.
It would. You would have like, teachers even like if you had a 800-year-old teacher that retained all that knowledge that could like give you a foundation of the world, like that'd be insane.
Right. That's that and that is what is yeah, to me it's I don't know, it very easily could be. Me, I've always thought of these the Bigfoot as being something always been around, probably something very similar to humans, not quite us is what the general thought is. And a lot of people who started that, as flesh and blood, they believe that they have some a lot of people who started that flesh and blood, they're a lot more woo now than they used to be when they first started. I'll say that.
Well,
Yeah.
I just saw your text whenever I stepped away for a second. There's a lot going on.
Going back to being able to live to be 900 years old. I'm 39 right now, and my first memory is when I was around 2.
Yeah.
But between before I was 6, I don't remember a whole lot. I remember series of things.
Mm-hmm.
So roughly 5% of my life is just unaccounted for. Before I was 2, I don't remember nothing before that. So if you're 900 years old, a majority of your earlier life, you're going to lose.
Maybe you don't know that though, because your whole anatomy would have to be different to live that long.
Right. And that right there would be something different as well. Part of the reason why it very easily could have been, that Noah and his sons and family, they could have been bigger people at that time, was because the atmosphere was completely different from what it is now. A lot more oxygen in it. It's I don't know if you ever seen any of these studies, where people pumped in a lot more oxygen, like into a greenhouse, and they grew tomato plants that grew 20 feet tall and stuff like that, produced tens of thousands of tomatoes. And, a lot of these experiments have gone on that really did produce results.
I would love to see one of the tree remnants, of the massive trees that they keep secret that are from the old world.
Yes. Yeah. That would be really, really, really cool to see something like that. But yeah, that right there is, whenever you wander into this world right here, this right here, the destruction, it's basically, if you look at it, and I know we're going to study Revelation later on, or we're not going to do a study. We're going to do a review of Revelation and all the prophecies and stuff later on here.
That'll be amazing.
It's going to be fun for me. It's going to be fun and sad at the same time. But yeah, it's if you look at all that right there, it's going to be pretty much man being released to do what man does.
Yeah.
Anytime humans have ever been given the authority to go kill, they go kill. I mean, look at it. Look at all the wars that we've had. Look at everything else that we've done to each other throughout the millennia that we've been around here. It's and that's what a lot of that's going to be. It's the famines that are going to take place. That's going to be because of inflation. Whenever a day's wages is only going to buy you enough food, enough wheat to eat for that day, or you can get more barley, which is normally given to the livestock, stuff like that, because there's less nutrients in it. It's more of a filler. And for a day's wages, you could get 3 quarts of barley for a day's work, and 1 quart of wheat for a day's work is basically what it's talking about. And that's going to be because of inflation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, which is something that we've been going through in the last 25 years, big time.
Yeah. It's
wages definitely have not grown with inflation.
No, not even close.
Well, they lied about it until 3 weeks ago when they were like, "Oh, it's actually 30%," or something crazy like that.
Yeah, I'm not sure there's not more.
They kept saying inflation's a good thing, or it's not went up that much.
And inflation is a hidden tax, is what inflation is. Because
shrinkflation is a big thing too. It's huge.
All right. Well, look, just to give you an idea, we covered earlier. We were talking about the silver certificate. You were able to take that silver certificate to a bank and go get a silver dollar, 99.9% or 90% pure silver dollar, American currency with that piece of paper. All right. You can take $1 today, and you're not even going to get close to buying an ounce of silver.
No,
because it's around $32.
Yeah,
it's went up a lot. I actually have one of those silver certificates, maybe a couple. When we got a lot of Rachel's dad's stuff, he has a book full of old notes, and like there's some from the colonies, like they got colony notes.
Really?
You got some greenbacks?
No, they're not green. I mean, maybe they're called that, but
No, I mean, you have some greenbacks.
they're like little. They're more square than they look like $1, but they're colonial notes.
If you got greenbacks, you might have something worth a fortune in there.
Dude, I could show you. I could show you this book of money, and you'd be like, "Oh my god!" Because there's a lot of the notes, even the early currency, had their gold. Like before the Federal Reserve, they had their gold representation on the notes, and there's a bunch of those. So yeah, I mean, it's crazy. If you remind me, I'll show you next weekend.
Well, did he happen to have a $3 bill?
I don't know if there's a $3 bill in there or not. It's like a big binder full of different currencies from.
Well, there was a $3 bill
from the 1700s on.
Guess who was on the $3 bill?
Bill Clinton.
No. No, Santa Claus.
Really?
Yes. Check me out.
Santa Claus?
Google that one real quick, or Firefox or Brave.
Was that like post Coke Santa Claus? Like
it was a long time ago. But yeah,
I'm gonna have to use Brave.
Well, the Coke Santa Claus thing happened in the 1920s, I think.
Yeah, it was. I think it was mostly in the Northeast where it was actually legal tender.
There you go, Stephen.
Yeah, and Dogman do the same thing. Yeah, it's sometimes, Alan, I'm not sure that the Dogman don't actually hunt with the Bigfoot, participate in that, because around here, we have Dogmen. We've called them a few times, where the Dogman and the Bigfoot are in the same area. It's I've got a picture here on my wall where there's actually a Dogman with the there. But yeah, the Bigfoot, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll make a blind. If you ever find where trees are kind of pulled in and makes a blind where one can squat down in and the other ones can drive a deer toward it, or some game like that. Yeah, if you find something like that and you find a tree, start looking around on that tree to see if you see hair that's stuck in the bark. And
I can't find the $3 bill, but I know a place where you can still get $2 bills all day long. It's just,
Me too.
It's this fancy place called the Platinum.
Yeah, they give twos instead of ones.
Oh yeah,
Inflation even hit there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, kind of like the song "Broken Window Serenade." Huh?
Yeah. You should see my face the first time I walked up and gave somebody a 20. I was like, "Can I get some ones for this?" And they came back with a bunch of twos. I was like, "What's this?"
Yeah. You should go back there sometime just for science.
Yeah, nostalgia.
Well, do you want to play the mermaid videos?
Yeah.
So there's a dude that works on it's a crab boat, and a lot of people are saying he has the most compelling evidence of mermaids. So there's the first one, which is what we're about to see, and then there's a second one that's even more perhaps compelling. Hey, Easy. Yeah, dude, this has been a crazy episode. So you have to go back and listen. We talk about a lot of stuff. we this has been a long journey. But yeah, go ahead and hit it.
This is crazy. I heard it. I heard it. I hear it. Oh my God. That's crazy. That's nuts. That's crazy.
Okay, so that one is just kind of the prelude, but then cue up the second one because it's even crazier. And this guy is very similar to the Giants dude. He's not dead like the Giants guy, but he stopped posting after these videos, so it's definitely not for clout.
Uh-oh. What's the other one titled as? Oh no, never mind.
It's right under. Yeah, it's right under it.
I found it.
Yeah, easy. We've been down the rabbit hole tonight for sure.
Yeah, we've been everywhere, I think.
Yeah, we have.
All right.
Come, Mr. Krabs! Tell him, Mr. Krabs! Actually, you know what, homie? I'm gonna throw you back in your ocean. Because we're not catching you. Be free! Be free, homie! Sometimes you gotta let him free, you know? Sometimes you just gotta let him roam free. Let's just walk right back. Let's see if we can find. Oh, yo! Oh, hell no! Wait, no! No fucking way! Wait, I just threw this overboard. Y'all saw me throw it overboard. This, are you fucking kidding me? That did not just.
So yeah, wherever they're crabbing, there's something in the water for sure.
I love that. I mean, at this point, have we talked about the elites eating mermaids on this?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Well, not on this show, but
no, it's
we talked about it last week, like how there's a dude posting the video now saying that he was basically a servant.
Yeah.
He was a boat captain or something crazy, and he ended up getting to be a party to a party to a party at a dinner where they served a mermaid.
I think it actually popped up in my feed like right before that. Let's listen to a video about that. For
Yeah,
the
go ahead and hit it.
That haven't got to hear this one. Why can't I? I hate how this. I don't have to watch the. Where's the full screen at?
Yeah, I don't know, dude. This one's weird.
Oh well.
Super rich people eating mermaids. Now let's talk about it. Now I've been seeing a lot of people talk about this lady on here talking about how her friend went to this extravagant A-list party and they had mermaids on the menu, like actual mermaids. And that whole situation and story just reminded me of this Mexican actor Cantinflas. Please excuse me if I didn't pronounce his name right. But he used to have these extravagant parties where mermaids would be the guest of honor. He literally built his home for like the mermaids to be able to enter his home. Like this was his house. He had like an open pool where they could just swim up at night.
No, this might not be the one I was looking for.
Well, this is cool. I haven't heard this one.
I'm glad this pulled up because I have heard this. So this guy had these huge parties, and like when he would have them, he'd walk people down to the docks, and like just mermaids would just come on up as well.
Yeah, they there's stories where they, like native stories, not Native American, but native in general, like indigenous stories, where mermaids would take people out of the tide and swim them underwater, not to drown them, but eventually they claimed that they could breathe at a certain point. And those people would return to their tribes weeks later with like knowledge of these underwater places.
Yeah. This is a pretty interesting subject. I've heard this one whenever I was doing the research for the mermaid episode we did years ago.
Right. And rumor has it he would have these extravagant party with all kinds of A-list celebrities and like high up people, and the mermaids would be the guest of honor. And that also brought me back to where I talked about this specific type of mermaid, which is called a ningyo. And in Japan, these ningyos can bring on a bad omen. If you eat them, it will give you eternal youth. So if you eat it, you literally will live forever. And they say they taste really good. So when she said that, when the lady told her story time about her friend that said that mermaids was on the menu, it makes sense. Because in Japan, it's a legend that if you eat these ningyos, you literally will live forever and ever and be beautiful. And that is your curse, eternal youth. Everyone you know and love will grow up and pass away, and you're still going to be the same age forever and ever. It might sound good, but it's not really good when everybody you know and love pass away. So to me, it is not shocking that these celebrities or high up people are eating these mermaids. And I think we think mermaids as being these beautiful, exotic looking women, but in reality, really kind of look like these ningyos. But they can, have abilities to shift into other stuff, or, like there's different types of mermaids. So they don't all look like this. But let me know what y'all think in the comments.
Oh yeah, easy. Well, there is a video that I included also that we didn't get to play last week. The ocean on fire. I included that video just in case we wanted to play it tonight.
Do you want to watch it? I mean,
yeah, just in case Easy hasn't seen it. Like we played a video where they were. This has been years ago, probably before we were even on Rumble, Easy, but they they were nuking the ocean, and then a couple of weeks later they're trying to put out a fire that's in the middle of the ocean with water.
It's my favorite. It's one of my favorite videos because it's so ridiculous. Right here, I remember watching it when they were showing it on the news. They're like, "There's a fire out there. We're putting out with seawater." This is funny. Look at this. Here's the boats spraying water on whatever this is.
Yeah.
And to me, that don't even look like your standard fire. That looks like magma.
Yeah.
Let's spray some water on this fire out in the ocean.
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand it. And Tully was right. Like a week before this, they were nuking the hell out of the oceans.
Yeah. So we've always thought that it was them trying to keep a Leviathan level creature away. Why else would you just be randomly nuking off the coast?
Yeah. My favorite thing about it is, though, like, how stupid do they think we are? Like, you're out there putting a fire out in the ocean with more water. And you're calling me fucking crazy? Like, pour some powder on that shit or something. That's like,
yeah, get a tactical missile of flour in that.
Yeah, use the foam tanker.
Yeah, like, they're pumping the water out of the ocean to spray on a fire that's in the same water.
yeah, dropping bomb in the ocean and stuff like that. And then, of course, I think the Navy was accused of using some kind of a sonic blast or whatever is causing whales and a lot of other sea creatures to lose their bearings, swim ashore, stuff like that. It's I don't know. It's a strange world.
Yeah, it would take me a while to get those videos lined up for the bombings, but around that same time, they were just bombing the hell out of the ocean. As big of bombs as you can imagine. But yeah.
That's funny. That's a good one. That one always blows my mind because I just can't get over the fact that they're spraying water out of the ocean onto a fire. That's insane. I never understood that. Like, I just don't get it. I'm not a scientist, obviously, but I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Like, if I walk in there and I got a grease fire, I'm not going to throw water on it.
Yeah.
You know? I don't know.
Well, in this case, it would be you'd be throwing more grease on it.
Yeah, exactly. The only thing going to put that out is a little bit more of the accelerant.
Throw gas on it, see if you can smother it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's a few videos we didn't get to. We can save for the next free for all, but we've came a long way.
Yeah.
But
Sure.
if you're watching on BitChute, follow us on Rumble if you want to comment. What else?
Make sure you follow us on everything. Give us a subscribe. It helps out. Just it takes you a split second. I subscribed to that girl we just watched talking about the mermaids. You notice it didn't hurt me at all. But follow us on all socials. Come back every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern, where we talk about news that you might not see in the mainstream media.
Yeah, agree, Easy.
Yeah.
Fridays we cover the underbelly of the news, strange news. We have implemented a live call-in function. Only one person's used it so far. So maybe someday we'll be able to have a free-for-all session where there's a bunch of people calling in and we can just talk the whole time.
That'd be fun. And Weird Awakenings every Friday at 8 p.m. Morgana's not here, so I don't know what you guys are talking about next Friday.
Yeah, I have no idea.
Let's see. I'm gonna have to try to find that.
Anyway,
I don't think she sent out a formal schedule this year.
No.
But I will say, I do know actually. We may have Martin.
Oh yeah.
We're talking about
Scotland.
Unexplained Scotland.
Unexplained Scotland. Yep. Martin Shaw might be coming back.
Martin Shaw from Scotland has written a book called Unexplained Scotland a couple years ago. He's doing another companion book, and hopefully we can get him on. I imagine that depending on his availability, we'll probably move that topic.
Yeah, he usually when he comes on though, it's like 3:00 in the morning there.
Yeah.
So he has to actually change his life for it.
If you've never attended a show with Martin, though, Martin is like the authority on weird shit that happens in Scotland.
Yeah, he's cool. Mm-hmm. I like old Martin Shaw. So come on over. Hopefully he'll be able to pop on. That'd be cool. If he pops on, I might pop on.
You got to. We have a 5-year relationship.
God, 5 years. But anyway, thank you all for tuning in. And thank you everybody that stayed around and watched for the 2 hours and 22 minutes we've been rolling. And we love you all, and we hope to do this again. And thank you for watching us, because we are watching you.
Peace.